Everyone, please rise. Yes, Putnam County Commission is now in session. The Honorable Chair, Darrell Blair presiding. All those here tonight having business before this commission, draw nigh, come forth, and ye shall hear. God bless America, the state of Tennessee, Putnam County, this honorable commission. Mr. Chairman, I find the meeting hall and the premises to be in order.
Thank you, Major. At this time, the invocation and the pledge will be by District 7.
Let's bow our heads. Oh, Lord, we just come and be thanking you for such a beautiful day, Lord. And Lord, I just ask you to guide us that we make the right decisions for our county, Lord. And I just ask you to guide our country, that it'll always make the right decisions for the people. And Lord, I thank you so much for your love and mercy. In Jesus' name I pray, Lord. Amen.
Amen.
I'd like to call on the Boy Scouts to do the pledge.
To the flag of the United States of America, and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Mr. Clerk, when you're ready, you can call the roll.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, if you'll take your handsets tonight and press yes and stop right there for me. Everybody press yes and stop right there for me, please. All right, good job. Now, please press confirm for me, if you would. Everybody, please press confirm. Mr. Chairman, you have 24 present, 0 absent. There is a quorum.
Thank you, Mr. Clerk. Do I hear a motion on the approval of the agenda?
Motion to approve. Second.
I have a motion and a second. Any discussion? Seeing none, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Approval of minutes of the previous meeting.
Motion to approve.
Second.
I have a motion and a second. Any discussion? Seeing none, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Unfinished business and action thereon by the board. Report of standing committees.
Planning, no unfinished business, Mr. Chair.
Fiscal review.
No unfinished business.
Nominating.
No unfinished business.
Reports on special committees. Any other unfinished business? New business and action thereon by the board. Report of standing committees. Planning.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Item A, under planning, recommends approval to transfer an ambulance chassis from the Putnam County Emergency Medical Services to the Parks and Recreation Department. You see the VIN number there. It's a 2011, and I so move.
I have a motion and a second. Any discussion? Seeing none, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries.
Item B, recommends approval that the following vehicles and equipment be declared surplus and sold via online auction. You see the list there: the 99 Jeep Cherokee, 93 Chevy truck, 95 Buick LeSabre, copy machine, and 2 common plotters. The VIN numbers are there, and I so move.
Second.
I have a motion and a second. Any discussion? Seeing none, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries.
Item C recommends approval of the request from Global Recycling for a tire recycling operation on Old Walton Road in the city of Monterey, and I so move.
Second.
I have a motion and a second. Any discussion? Mr. Porter.
Randy, on this that we're about to approve here, if we approve this for Monterey, my question can they move this anywhere else without it coming back in front of us?
No, sir.
Okay.
Any other discussion?
I'm sorry.
Seeing none, Mr. Porter?
We had the public hearing tonight at 5 o'clock for this, and no one showed up. So there's been I've had no calls or no one against it, and Monterey City's already passed it, and they didn't have anyone that was against it.
Folks, if you would, push your button so I can see you where I won't miss you.
How's that?
There you go, Mr. Bennett.
I was just gonna say that, I talked to a few people, Mike, and, Monterey, and I have found no one that objected to it at all. Thought it was a pretty good thing, especially where it's located at, it's a pretty good location, so I'm not finding any problems with anybody, even though nobody showed up, I did a little investigate myself, and it sounds like it's gonna be a good thing up there.
Any other discussion? Seeing none, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries.
Item D recommends approval of the declaration of protective and restrictive covenants for the Highland Business Park, and I so move.
I have a motion and a second. Any discussion? Mr. Ben, I'm assuming that was the last round? There you go.
My bad.
Okay, no problem.
I forgot to spray that there, all right, take it away.
Seeing none, all in favor say aye. Aye. Opposed? Motion carries.
And item E recommends approval of a resolution amending the membership of the Upper Cumberland Regional Airport Board, and I so move.
Second.
I have a motion and a second. Any discussion? Seeing none, all in favor say aye. Aye. Opposed? Motion carries.
Ends planning, Mr. Chair.
Thank you, Commissioner Atwood. Fiscal review.
Thank you. Fiscal Review Committee recommends approval of budget amendments to the County General Fund in the amount of $311,586.
Motion to approve. Second. I have a motion and a second. Any discussion? Seeing none. Commissioner Eversole.
I have a question about the amendment for the Sheriff's Department. And I see that we're bringing it out of revenue, commissary revenue or commissary sales. Should that not come out of fund balance?
The treatment of it can be like this. When Mr. Porter in the 15-16 budget made an estimation, the estimation was for $425,000. We greatly expect to exceed that. So there is no new monies involved with this request. It's simply upping our revenues to match our up of expenditures. It's an accounting debit and credit sort of thing. There is no new monies at all. No fund balance monies are used. That was an option that Mr. Porter's office chose not to go that way. This is easier. Okay? Any other questions?
Any other discussion? Seeing none, Mr. Clerk.
Ladies and gentlemen, if you'll take your handsets, if you favor the motion tonight, vote yes. If you do not favor the motion, vote no. Everyone, please vote, and please stop right there for me, please. Everyone voting, and stop right there. All votes are in. Anyone wish to change their vote anywhere? Now please press confirm, if you would, ladies and gentlemen. Everybody, please press confirm. Mr. Chairman, you have 24 voting yes, 0 no, 0 absent. Motion carries.
Fiscal Review Committee recommends approval of budget amendments to the Road Department Fund in the amount of $46,000, and I so move.
Again.
I have a motion and a second. Any discussion? Seeing none, Mr. Clerk.
Ladies and gentlemen, if you take your handsets, if you favor the motion tonight, vote yes. If you do not favor the motion, vote no. Everyone, please vote. Please stop right there for me, please. All votes are in. Anyone wish to change their vote anywhere? Now please press confirm for me, if you would, ladies and gentlemen. Thank you for helping me with that tonight. You're doing a great job, and I appreciate it. Mr. Martin. Mr. Chairman, you have 24 voting for, 0 no, 0 absent. Motion carries.
Review Committee recommends approval of a resolution and plan authorizing a continuous 5-year reappraisal cycle presented by Assessor of Property, Steve Pierce, and I so move.
Second.
I have a motion and a second. Any discussion? Seeing none, Mr. Clerk?
Ladies and gentlemen, if you favor the motion, take your hands up to vote yes. If you're not in favor of the motion, vote no. Everyone, please vote. Stop right there for me, please. All votes are in. Anyone, wait a minute, anyone wish to change their vote anywhere? Now, please press confirm for me if you would, ladies and gentlemen. I know it's all right. Mr. Chairman, you have 24 voting yes, 0 no. Motion carries.
Fiscal Review Committee recommends approval for the county executive to apply for a state grant in the amount of $748,298 and approve to remove the old hangar on the sports complex property.
Motion to approve.
Second.
I have a motion and a second. Any discussion? Commissioner Medley?
Excuse me, who seconded that? Oh, all right.
Randy, you probably need to answer this. Randy, what's the, budget to maintain that soccer complex right now?
Probably in the neighborhood of, almost 150, 118. It's funded by,
I know how it's funded.
by hotel motel tax.
How much, revenue do we take in out there that goes back?
If you look at, I'll use last year's numbers since we're just partially into that. We took in, $73,193 in recreation fees, took in $35,000 in, lease and rental fees, other revenues, $132,000 roughly.
Well, that's a lot better than I expected.
Now, this was in the 2014-2015 budget year that we just closed out last June.
And that's how much revenue you've made back towards what it costs to maintain it.
And that doesn't include the hotel motel tax, you know, there's $80,950 or a half a cent of that goes in there. And of course, you got property tax and all the other stuff, but that's just under recreation fees, lease and rentals, and other local revenues that come into the sports and recreation fund.
Okay.
Anything else, Commissioner Medley?
No, that's it.
Okay. Commissioner Ford?
My question is for, our Parks and Recreation Director. I talked to you some extent last Monday night, and I was amazed that you told me we only had 2 tournaments this past year out there, and they were sponsored by the Civitan Club. What has happened to the soccer, organization?
With the Rotary, the soccer club actually assists with that. With the Rotary tournaments, the soccer club actually assists with that. So they're actually a part of it, but they just don't lead it.
So they do not have a soccer organization?
They do. Yes,
They do?
we actually have their president here as well tonight, so.
But we have taken that over from them and getting the money from that, is that right?
No, there's still a soccer organization active in Putnam County.
Do they pay to play on the fields?
Yes, sir.
They do?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Well, when this thing was first set up, it was really the soccer complex, and it was for soccer only, one of the fastest growing sports there is around here. And their deal was with the county and the city, which when you see the city come through these doors up here, they're wanting something from the county that we never get back. And they built it, put the lights up. I know you laugh, but I've been here a long time, and we always come out on the short end of the stick with the city. Now they're charging us for water and lights out there. Are we gonna need, speaking of lights, are we gonna need any more lights with the new fields?
That is something that we would work on long-term down the road. We would apply for a grant in order to be able to get that as well, but that would be something long-term. These fields we would be able to use for tournament use without having the lights, because you're not gonna play on all 8 fields at night.
Wayne, I'm having a little trouble hearing him.
I've got him up as loud as I can get him without, Roy, he's talking soft. You might want to get a little closer to that
Got my
mic, if you
ears
don't
on,
care.
I'm a little hard of hearing, I
Sorry about
apologize.
Yeah.
You may have to get closer
He's
to
a
that
soft
mic.
talker, Jerry.
I think now, and basically when we done this, there was a promise between the soccer organization, and they were the only ones to use the fields, but it's developed into what I figured it would from the start when we were told that it wouldn't be anybody else, that everybody is using it now.
Well, and we actually have a copy of the original agreement where it has several other organizations listed along with that. And that was actually what was passed by the commission too.
It's a good thing. Is the Y, their fields still, do they use them?
Yes, they use their own personal fields right now. We have been talking to the Y about coming back to the sports complex.
Anybody that comes out there and plays, they pay for use of the field.
Yes, sir.
It really bothers me, like I said, that there's only 2 soccer tournaments. I lost my word in there. This past year when we were having several out there during the year, and I think we need to get to promoting that more, and more soccer fields we probably will be able to. That old airport building needs to be tore down. It should be tore down 40 years ago. And about one more question on this. If we don't get the grant, are we not gonna do this?
That'd be up to the commission, Jerry. I mean, I think it's something very worthwhile. You're gonna touch a lot of kids' lives, and my thing is that for every child that's out there playing soccer, they're not sitting on the couch playing video games, or they're not out on the streets getting in trouble. So I think this is probably one of the most important things y'all have voted on in a long time, and I would hope if we didn't get the grant, we could either apply for another one, or we'd start doing it in pieces and do small, maybe add a field a year or something out there. But, you know, this thing's grown so much that all you gotta do is go out there on a Saturday or a Sunday or, during the week, at night when they're practicing. It is unbelievable how much soccer and lacrosse has grown and how many kids are out there. And the reason that we don't have mowers because you don't have room for them. Mike's here tonight, the President Association. I mean, the schedule is unbelievable sometimes, trying to get all the teams to be able to play. And so I think this is a great thing, and I would hope that if we don't get the grant, we'd still look at doing so.
I agree with you. One more question, and I'll leave you alone.
Okay.
There was a time before you took sole control over there that we had a problem with people that tech students or just anybody that were coming out there turning the lights on, turning the fields off. I know that's been corrected pretty well. Do you still have any problem at all with any of that?
We do have issues occasionally, but we don't have near as many now. We've taken control of it pretty much back, and it's actually myself that goes out and locks and unlocks the facility at night in order to be able to turn the lights on. So that's really how we've cut down on it quite a bit, is just by me going out and helping patrol.
Okay. Well, I appreciate it. Thank you.
Commissioner Watson.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Just a real quick comment and also a question for John Ross as well, but I think this is a very good motion. Like Randy, like you said, I think it's one of the best things we probably vote on in a long time when it regards, like you said, quality of life with the kids and just giving them something to do, but also economically. I think this is going to be a huge benefit for the community with how we've become a destination, especially in the recreational section of things and everything. We've got a lot to look forward to. I really think this is going to be a good motion we're going to vote on. Especially soccer is not just Commissioner Ford, as you mentioned, soccer is a fast-growing sport locally, but also regionally and nationally. So I think this will be a very good, motion that we're gonna vote on. But the question I had is, if we, get this grant, when could we maybe expect a ballpark, estimation on a completion date on these activities?
When we would apply for the grant, it would be due April 22nd. We would find out in August, whether we got it or not from the state. And then we would have 2 years to get it finished, that we would have to be able to get it finished. Of course, our objective would be to get it done as soon as we could, because we wouldn't want to push that deadline. But kind of going into what you were saying about tournament-wise and what Mr. Ford was saying as well, I understand the necessity in order to be able to get the extra tournaments that we need at this facility. It's one of the things since day one that I'd actually said that we should have more tournaments hosted at this facility than what we do now. I've talked to several tournament directors that we think that we can do that. We have the ability to be able to host those, and we can do them even better with the expansion that we need to do. Actually, we've worked with the chamber quite a bit in order to be able to try and start that process. With these tournaments, it's not something that we can just say, hey, we're having a tournament next week, and you can get teams to show up. It's something that we have to fight aggressively with all the other cities and the areas around us in order to be able to capture those tournaments. And so that's what we're actively attempting to do right now on the behalf of the county commission and the city. And so, you know, we're working, we're trying to bring in more tournaments. We have the ability. We have several tournaments that have contacted us about coming. So we do have that potential there too, to bring in the income.
Thank you for what you're doing. You're doing a phenomenal job. Thank you.
Commissioner Medley.
Randy, so we're looking at building 2 more soccer fields.
The big ones, Mike,
And how many practice fields?
9,
Okay.
total of 11.
So you're gonna build 9 practice fields?
Well, they're not actually practice fields. They're smaller fields that the smaller kids and the smaller, games can play on. 2 of the big fields that would go along with the other 6 that we have for a total of 8, and then 9 more smaller fields that range anywhere from yeah.
Now, I know this grant ain't gonna pay for this, so where are we gonna get the rest of the money from?
Well, we use in-kind match we'll be able to figure about $150,000. We think we'd be able to do stuff ourselves that will be an in-kind match. The other 200 or so thousand, multiple choices, okay? We can either take it, and do a capital outlay note, and then Sports and Recreations pay it back. We can just take it out of, the fund balance. We can take it out of reserves that the soccer has, or we can take it out of the county general fund balance. So there's plenty of places to take it from.
So what do you think the total, cost is gonna be for this? You got an idea?
Well, in that $750,000, you've got a over $60,000 contingency fee, so we don't think we would ever use that, so that puts it down to $690. And then I think that they have overestimated the cost by as much as 10%, so I think we're down around in the 600 range, which is gonna make once we take our in-kind match and everything, I think it's gonna be less than $200,000 for I think it's gonna be an opportunity, if we get this grant, for you to do a huge amount of expansion out there that will carry it for many years at probably the smallest cost you would ever be able to do it at, because if we have to do this all on our own, it'd be a big undertaking. That's my opinion.
Commissioner Eversole.
I have a couple of questions on that. Is removing the old hangar contingent on us getting this grant?
No, but it would be in the project. It would have to be removed before we could do the project. And it's, the problem with the old hangar is whether we do this or whether we don't, it needs to be removed.
That's my question.
Oh, yeah, and
The way it reads, to me, it looks like if we don't get this grant, we're not gonna remove that.
No, the way that was put in, the reason it was put in is that I wanted the authority to go ahead and remove the old hangar regardless of whether we get the grant or not, was what I was asking for in that.
Okay. Should we make that a separate issue? Okay. Another thing, we talked, and there's no extra equipment that you're gonna need to maintain these. And how much more what was it on the, we had talked about,
Turf field based on fertilizer alone, it would be, 2,600, but that's all that we would need. Equipment-wise, we have the reel mower that would be able to cover that. And we have the staff within the department that we can move to cover that as well, so you wouldn't have that increase.
and then who's in charge of gathering up these or going after these tournaments? I mean, I'm
We
here.
all are.
Yeah.
Well, I understand
We
that,
all
but I
are.
mean, he's got a daytime job.
We have the CVB, I don't know how many of you are familiar with the CVB at the chamber. One of the things that they do, they get county money and city money, and part of their goal is, we've got a new director there now, and Zach is working hard bringing these tournaments in. I mean, we've got a softball tournament coming in, that's got,
They had 50 teams this last weekend in the very first, and they wanna do one every month. And that's just softball.
we got 75 teams, I think they said wins. 79 teams in the Rotary tournament coming up in April. I mean, there's all kinds of things that we can do if we've got the resources the facilities to be able to handle them.
Yeah, well, I go back to, we only had 2 tournaments last year. You know, are we gonna improve on that this year?
Without a doubt, and I'm gonna speak because that's not John Ross's fault.
Oh, I'm not.
Yeah, that's, there'd never been any enthusiasm to want to bring more tournaments in out there, with the previous folks, and that's something, every time we bring one of those tournaments in, I'll give you an example. Last year, we were able to put a new roof on Cornerstone, White Plains, and the school administration building, about $2 million, that we didn't have to borrow the money from because we had record sales tax and hotel motel tax coming in. A lot of that is coming from those type events, the softball, the soccer, the Blue Cross Bowl, all these people are coming in. Every time we can bring a tournament in, and all those people come here and they spend their money, they stay in our hotels, they fill up with gas, they eat. If we can keep that money flowing, then we don't have to look for other revenues. We can do a lot of the stuff that we need to do in our county with that kind of money. That's what I'm looking at. Tourism is a huge thing, and I don't think we've even scratched the surface in Putnam County on what tourism could bring into our area. And we have someone at the chamber that's pushing it now and going out and trying to actively recruit these folks to come in. And with John Ross taking over out the Parks and Recreation now, I think we got the perfect team to be able to make that happen.
You look like you wanna say something.
Well, and if you'd like, Zach is actually here as well, and he could talk to you about the tournaments that he's actually trying to help bring in.
Sure, I'm sure everybody, if we're gonna build this, we wanna know that there's a plan in place.
Zach Ledbetter with the Cookeville Putnam County Convention and Visitors Bureau. So we are the marketing arm for the city and the county, because you don't have those departments. So we bring in those tourist dollars. We want those people to come in, stay the night, eat in our restaurant, shop, and go home. It's a pretty simple concept for us. The old heads and beds, but we want to do more than that. And with our Sports Council and Convention and Visitors Bureau, we are a part of the National Association of Sports Commissions, which will take place the first week in April. And what happens there is we set up appointments with events rights holders, and this could be cheerleading, dance, fishing tournaments, soccer, any sport that you can think of are represented at this event. And soccer alone, we are meeting with three events rights holders, and we are meeting with about 3 lacrosse. And the good thing about these soccer fields is also lacrosse is also a very fast-growing sport, much like soccer. And I think we're missing out on a huge opportunity in lacrosse alone, where we could grow that opportunity. And it uses the same field, it's just painted a little bit differently.
Thank you. Approximately how much would it take or cost to remove the hangar? Do you have
The quotes we got, the lowest one was about 20,000. I can cover that in our budget this year to go ahead and take it down. The problem with the old hangar is it's a health risk and a safety hazard. And the quicker we can get it down, I think the better off we are.
Well, I'd like to then, make a motion that we remove the part of removing the old hangar from the, grant itself, and to go ahead and give, Mr. Porter the authority to go ahead and have that hangar removed.
I have a motion and a second. Any discussion on this motion? On this motion only? Mr. Williams, is yours on the motion or on the first thing we was talking about?
No, the first thing.
Okay, we'll get back to you. Mr. Clerk, if you would, state the motion.
If I understand right, Mr. Ebersol, this is to removing the old hangar from the, grant proposal and make it a separate item and go ahead and proceed accordingly, give county executive authority to go ahead and do that. Is that correct?
Yes.
Okay.
Everybody understand the motion? Any discussion on the motion? Seeing none, Mr. Clerk?
All right, ladies and gentlemen, I'm gonna have to clear the, remember, we'll have to clear this to do this one, so you'll have to
Commissioner Adams?
Yeah, I just wanted to clarify, because is removing the hangar actually part of this resolution?
It is, yes.
Okay. I'm just glancing at it quickly and I didn't see it in there, so.
Oh, it's not part of the resolution, it's just part of what we talked about in this review.
So we're not removing it from the resolution, 'cause
No,
it's
we're
not in
just
the resolution.
separating that part of it.
we're just separating it out from the grant proposal deal and going ahead and proceeding. If I said resolution, I meant to say grant proposal.
Commissioner Atwood?
Yeah, and I know I'm always crazy, but I believe it's already in there the way you want it, if I'm not mistaken, Scott, because it says, we're recommending to apply to the grant and approve the removal of the hangar. So we're doing that, it is two parts within this very, I believe.
Right, and I agree with you, but if for some reason, and I don't know that it'll happen, that the grant doesn't go, that takes the hangar out too.
I don't, well, okay, the motion's good, let's vote, I'm okay.
I'm just trying to get rid of the hangar.
We're all with you.
All right, all right.
Any other discussion on the motion? Seeing none, Mr. Clerk?
All right, ladies and gentlemen, give me a second. We're gonna clear the board. All right, now, hang on. Now, remember, before you begin voting, you're voting strictly on his motion, his amendment, okay? Strictly the amendment. Take your handsets. If you favor the amendment, vote yes. If you do not favor the amendment, vote no. Everyone, please vote. And stop right there for me, please. All right, all votes are in. Anyone wish to change their vote concerning the amendment on the motion? Now, please press confirm for me if you would, ladies and gentlemen. Everybody press confirm. Mr. Chairman, you have 24 voting yes, 0 no, 0 absent. The amendment passes. Now you're back to the original motion as amended.
Any discussion on the original motion? Commissioner Williams?
Yeah, I have a question, I guess, for Zach. I know, John Ross had said we are competing against other cities, for the tournament. Who are we in competition with now? And if we add these fields, would that elevate us to a different, competition level, or?
It really a lot of it depends on relationship, which is what John Ross and I have worked on in the last year of building that relationship with not only our two departments, but with these events rights holders. That's the biggest key that they will teach you going into this National Association of Sports Commissions, that it's about the relationship and not what you always have in facilities. We have great facilities, we have great hotels, we have great amenities. Now we've built those relationships and we're just ready to go. But as far as cities, you're looking at Kingsport, Clarksville, even probably Chattanooga. We work with we're really in competition with Convention and Visitors Bureau and sports councils that have $1.5 million budgets.
And I'm asking this because I don't know a lot about soccer, but I know, Cumberland County has a really cool facility. I don't think they have the hotel structure that we do, but are we on kind of the same level? Are we way above them, or?
We're above them.
Okay, so, I mean, but now, maybe in like Murfreesboro, what would it take for us to get, something like that?
We are right there in competition with Murphy.
Okay.
It'd be right there with.
So
the
this'll
guys.
help though a lot?
Yes.
Okay.
Commissioner Ford.
Randy, you said a few minutes ago, and I apologize, my ears, I had one that wasn't working real well. You said one option was to do a capital outlay note with, Parks and Recreation paying it.
Yes, sir. There's several options. The only thing we don't wanna do is, depending on what the amount of the grant comes up to be, we don't wanna do a capital outlay note like was done in the capital projects budget a few years ago and get us an audit finding where it takes forever to put that in, and it puts it in a negative category, so we just need to make sure that that doesn't happen. But you can move the money out of debt service during the budget process, which won't require a capital outlay note. We can take it out of fund balance reserves. There's all kinds of places we can get it. The match is not my concern, is getting the grant is gonna be our thing that we've really gotta work hard on.
So it's gonna be way up there with, I'm sure there'll be a lot of other people applying for this grant.
I think there will be, but I don't, with the size that we're doing, with the facility we've got, and with the opportunities that it's gonna open up, I think and you never know, you don't know who all's gonna apply, but, I think we have a good chance, but you never know until the process goes through, so we just have to do the best job we can and hope for the best.
Thank you, Randy.
Any other discussion? Seeing none, ma'am, if you would, come up to the podium, state your name, we'll give you 3 minutes.
Hello, and I've talked with several of you all before. My name's Kayla Taylor, and I work with the Upper Cumberland United Soccer Club. I'm the vice president, and I also am on the booster club for the high school soccer teams. Just as a point, while we are moving towards the competition level that you asked with regard to Murfreesboro, they have a $16 million complex. And so we're not quite there yet. Crossville, until Randy and John Ross came in, their facilities, although somewhat similar in size, their facilities were much better taken care of than ours were. So while we have a better infrastructure, we have much better hotels, restaurants, things of that nature. If you were to go on fields alone, which is very important to soccer players and community, their fields outperformed ours. Now, thanks to Randy and John Ross, we're on much more even playing field right now, but we are competing with every major city and even some of the smaller cities like Chattanooga, Clarksville. I would like to say we're Murfreesboro, but we're not quite there yet. One of the things I do want to share is while we did have 2 tournaments in the big sense of what a tournament is, advertising bringing in 75 to 100 teams, there were also middle school tournaments at the complex, and that's all the middle schools in the Upper Cumberland. So while they might not be spending the night, they're eating, they're spending their tax dollars here. Additionally, the lacrosse club had multiple play dates, which is a round robin of schools coming and playing. So a tournament in the true sense of the word. So I don't want you to think that it's not being utilized. And with all due respect, Mr. Ford, I wish it was easy to throw tournaments together, but it's not as easy, and until we had the cooperation of this team, we really didn't have the support to be able to do that. So, in bringing forward the fact that this is really important to our community, and the number of people that it touches, including, I would say, like the minority communities, the Hispanics, a lot of the international students, it's an opportunity with relatively little investment to make our community compete on a much higher level. And then finally, I'll say, everybody in the community is pretty much aware of the Blue Cross Blue Shield football, the state championship that we host and how successful that's been. There's an opportunity to do that with soccer as well, but it's twofold because there's a girls' season and a boys' season. And those are bid out every 3 years, just like the football tournament is. But it's something that until this point, we haven't been able to compete because we don't have the infrastructure. So while it is important and we are moving in the right direction, this will be a huge step and allowing us to compete on multiple other levels. Thank you all.
Thank you. Any other discussion from the audience? Any other discussion from the commissioners? Seeing none, Mr. Clerk?
All right, ladies and gentlemen, if you'll take your handsets, remember you're voting on the original as amended with the amendment. If you favor the motion, vote yes. If you do not favor the motion, vote no. Everyone, please vote. Please stop right there for me, please. All votes are in. Anyone wish to change their vote anywhere? Anybody? All right. Please press confirm for me, ladies and gentlemen, if you would. Everybody, please press confirm. Mr. Chairman, you have 22 voting yes, 2 no, 0 absent. Motion carries as amended.
That concludes fiscal review.
Thank you, Commissioner Savage. Nominate committee.
No business for nominating.
Report of special committees. Resolutions.
There are no resolutions, Mr. Chairman.
Election of notaries.
Brenda F. Ossobrooks, Megan Burnett, Tammy Bush, Elizabeth A. Butler, Gordon A. Byers, Joyce A. Callahan, Stacy Schote, Amy T. Crouch, Jessica Lynn Davis, Cindy M. Dodson, Cynthia J. Downs, Shauna Edwards, Lisa G. Fuller, Dorinda J. Henry, Lisa J. Hilton, Crystal Johnson, Barbara A. Kennard, John W. Paul, Roger Randolph, Kelly Reed, Sandra K. Robbins, Brenda L. Warfel, Dustin Whitefield, Alicia Wright, and Jennifer Wright.
Motion to approve.
Second.
Have a motion and a second. Any discussion? Seeing none, Mr. Clerk?
Ladies and gentlemen, we have to vote this one with your handsets. If you'll take your handsets and please vote. If you favor the motion, vote yes. If you not favor the motion, vote no. Everyone, please vote. Please stop right there for me, please. All votes are in. Anyone wish to change their vote anywhere? Now please press confirm for me, if you would, ladies and gentlemen. Everybody press confirm. Everybody press confirm. Mr. Chairman, I have 24 voting yes, 0 no, 0 absent. Motion carries.
Any other new business? Announcements and statements. Hear from County Exec Randy Porter about County Employee Appreciation Day.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I've got 2 or 3 items that we need to get into the minutes. One of them is, we've been talking department heads, elected officials and so forth about having a, Employee Appreciation Day for a while, and, Parks and Recreations, has agreed that on May the 6th, from 11 to 1, we'd hold a cookout type, lunch for the county employees. It'll be out at the Cookville Community Center. John Ross and all his folks are gonna do the cooking. Just to say thank you to all of our county employees. Like to invite all the commissioners. I'll send y'all out an email once we get a little closer. I think it'll be a good thing. We have a lot of good county employees, and, sometimes it's the little things that means the most. So we want to do something to show them, our appreciation for them being here. One thing I need to get into the minutes, we have to do this annually. It's our 3-star program with the state. It's the RECERT. This letter has to be put in part of the minutes, Wayne, and it just acknowledges that we have a debt management policy that's on file with the Comptroller's Office, which we do, and that before we issue any new debt, we're supposed to do a cash flow forecast. Of course, we haven't issued any new debt in a while, so we would do that should we do that. But I need this form to be put as part of the minutes.
Okay.
Also, I'd like to give you out about this time of the year, started last year with revenue reports. You know, we're gonna be starting budget committee meeting, the very first one, which is March the 28th, start talking about capital projects. But I want to give you an idea, this is, all of the revenues through February. And once everybody gets one, I wanted to explain, I added a new column or two, and I want to make sure everybody understood, the numbers as you were looking at them. Sorry. Everybody get one?
Do you need to sign that, Randy?
Yeah, I will.
Okay.
Okay, so if you look at the columns that are going across, of course, you've got the account. I showed you what we received in 2014, 2015 budget. Just remember, I know I keep reiterating this, but this does not include receivables that we do at the end of the year. This is straight revenue numbers from the trustee's office each month. This is starting from July 1st through February, the end of February. It shows you the amount that we budgeted. Then in the line item for this year, I then showed you the amount that we have received so far through February, the percent of what that is of the budget. So with property tax, through the end of February, we've collected 97% of what we were budgeted to collect in that revenue, which is really good. Then I gave you the increase and decrease, the INC DEC. That's from last year. That's comparing last year, the first 8 months of that fiscal year, July through February, to the same 8 months this year, July through February, how much that increase or decrease is, and the amount. You just have to be careful when you look at some of those numbers, though, because business tax is something that comes in big the last few months, that Wayne collects,
huge.
$1 million,
Yes.
huge. And,
Huge.
so that just gives you something to look at. Don't get too excited if you see something in the red or something really big in the black, because chances are that means that revenue line item, if it's big in the black, probably most of it comes in at the beginning of the year. If it's really bad in the red, it's probably gonna come in towards the end of the year. But it gives you an idea of where we're at. If you look at the very last page, at the very bottom, at the summary, what I did, this is every fund except for schools and roads. It's everything in county general that I'm over. So far, through February, we've collected 85% of what we're budgeted to collect, and we're almost $3 million ahead of what we budgeted. But now you have to remember, we budget very conservative. So that's the reason that we always want to be ahead. We don't ever want to be in the hole. But so far, everything's looking good, but we still got March, April, May, and June to go through yet. But hotel, motel tax, sales tax, all that kind of stuff, the prisoner board, commissary, all the major ones that bring in a lot of money are looking good. So if you have any questions, call me, email me, catch me after the meeting or whatever, and I'll be glad to explain, or if you got any questions.
Randy?
Yes, sir.
We really appreciate this. I know I'm speaking for everyone here. This gives us a lot of good information ahead of time that we can follow, and we haven't always had this, but this is really good for us. Helps us a lot.
My goal, is to give you as much information as I possibly can. And what I'll start doing next month is start estimating what I think the revenue's gonna be at the end of the year, so we'll have a better guess for budget committee. Let's see, Mr. Chairman. The only other thing is, I'd like for you to let your vice chairman take over, and you come down to the podium. I have something I'd like to give you. As y'all know, Chairman Blair is retiring from the county fire department after over 30 years of being with the county fire department, and I go back to the first day, I believe, that that I remember him coming on the fire department, and it's, 30 years really goes by in a hurry, but he's done a great job, and want to give him a plaque, to show him how much we appreciate, what he did. And it's got the Putnam County Fire's logo on it, and it says in appreciation to Chief Darrell Boyer for over 30 years of dedicated service to the citizens of Putnam County. And when you take into a lot of those years, he was a volunteer fireman and got paid nothing. That was back before the point system. Responded to a lot of fires day and night. Took time away from his family, and you got to have a really good family to be able to put up with that, because there's a lot of times you may be out for hours. So, Darrell, we're very appreciative of what you've done as fire chief, and want to say thank you.
Randy, I appreciate that. I didn't know you was gonna do that. I had a little thing wrote out here, and I'm all about family. So I wanted to get my family up here with me, but thanks again, Randy, I appreciate it. And, ladies and gentlemen, I stand before you tonight as your last time as chief of the Putnam County Fire Department. And no, I'm not gonna ask you for nothing tonight. Everything's good. But I just wanted to say a few words to you about my retirement. It has truly been an honor to serve the citizens of Putnam County and to serve as their fire chief since 1995. It's been a wonderful experience working with many great professionals over the course of 30 plus years. The growth of the county has been tremendous, and I've been very, very fortunate to be part of it, and I've been very fortunate to lead this department during this time, and to see us develop to be a leader in this region and also in this state. We have gone from just 30 volunteer firefighters to now being a mixed full-time, part-time volunteer department. Putnam County has 13 stations, which 9 are new expanded stations for customer service. I always believed in customer service because that's what it makes. I think that's what we owe the citizens of this county. We now have 61 volunteers, 6 full-time, 11 part-time personnel to serve these citizens. Believing the citizens deserve best, I know the future's bright for Putnam County and also for the fire department. Our leadership team has not only worked on expanding and improving equipment, but also on the development and growth of our personnel. I am proud to have been able to lead and improve the training, the certifications of our personnel since becoming chief. This has led us to also being recognized in the region and state for having an exceptional safety record. Much has been done to provide quality fire service to Putnam County during my tenure, and there are many that helped. I want to say thank you, Commission. I know we've had a lot of battles, but it was fun. I learned a lot. And I hope y'all learn as much from me as I have y'all. Everybody's not going to agree, and that's good. That's the way it should be. I want to thank the prior administrations, and also I want to thank the current administrations for giving me a chance to continue on. And the opportunity and the privilege to serve the citizens of this county. I think so much of Putnam County. This is my home. I'm proud of it. And I want to express my deepest appreciation to my fellow employees and the fantastic people of Putnam County for allowing me to have a career that has meant so much to me and my family. As you can see standing beside me, family means a lot to me. And God does too. He has blessed us so much. And I'll never be able to repay him for it. But I've got him. And I am so proud of that. Although I love the fire service, Putnam County, the community, and all my fellow workers, it's time for me to step aside, move on to new opportunities in life. This chapter has been a great ride. It's been fun. It's been a lot of fun. And I believe the next chapter will be even better. We have extremely qualified people and leaders here in the fire department who will continue to carry on our mission of caring and serving the citizens of this county. I'm proud to have been allowed to envision and develop a top-notch fire department over the past 20 years as your fire chief. I can only say I wish the Putnam County Fire Department and I wish Putnam County nothing but the best for the future. And I thank each and every one of you. Thank you. Well, I'm glad that's over. Let's get back to business. Any other announcements? Commissioner Ford.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. This time I'd like to mention something near and dear to my heart. I'd like to thank Daniel Buckner, who's brought his troop from Heavenly Host, Troop 20, and the boys coming tonight. I remember when Daniel was like one of these boys sitting back there. He was so small until he got his eagle and has grown into an adult and has children of his own. And I'm proud. I always tickled to see the scouts show up at one of our meetings. Thank you, Daniel, and the other leaders and the boys.
Any other announcements? Seeing none, I hear a motion to adjourn. Motion and second. All in favor say aye. Opposed? We're adjourned.